Hi, my name is Martin Goosey, and you're listening to the British Council Teachers Conference 2014 podcast series. Here with me on this occasion is our teacher, Ross Smith. Ross, could you tell us what you do?
Well, I've been working here for the past 6 years now. I teach a variety of classes, primary, secondary levels, and also this year I've been looking at a kind of research area which is demand high.
Okay, and you're a teacher trainer as well, are you not?
Yes, I also am a teacher trainer tutor on the Tyler course.
Right, okay, that's great. I think you've the talk that you're going to give at our teachers conference in September, you actually gave the same one at TESOL, is that right?
Yeah, I spoke at Spain TESOL this year about demand high, and it's something which I had been working on throughout the academic year. Since then I've continued further research with my own classes, and it's something that I plan to do a bit more research with in the coming year also.
Right, okay. I think demand high is it's kind of a hot topic at the moment, but for those who don't know what it is or haven't heard about it, could you explain what it means and where the idea came from?
Mm-hmm. It's an idea that was originally inspired by Adrian Underhill and Jim Scrivener back in 2012, when they had, in their roles as kind of teacher trainers and running schools and whatever, they had observed that in a few classes that new teachers and teachers who with a bit of experience were really having interesting classes, but they were concerned that students weren't really having deep learning, if you like, and they felt that the focus was too much on the teaching, and they wanted to move the focus back onto learning and try and see if they can get students to have a more meaningful and deeper learning experience.
Right, and I think I remember reading something about the level of challenge as well, that we're not, I mean, I think that's where the name comes from, isn't it? That we should demand more, we should have higher expectations, something like that. And that I think it was Adrian Underhill who said that he'd seen classes where teachers just used the course book, and the course book was all very well, but if you were a competent learner and you were, just drifting through the course book, that there wasn't really a challenge for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be careful how you look at it as well, because they're also very clear in stating that it's not about making things more difficult, which has been mentioned as well. They're very clear about how you approach it, and it should be about creating as many upgrading opportunities in the classroom for your students as possible, rather than making tasks unmanageable. So it should be a manageable task, and it should be something that also challenges them and makes the student want to explore things a bit further. So if you set up a task, rather than it being something that they can just achieve and then sit back and say, right, I've done that, it's about creating tasks and challenges in the classroom that are achievable, but then encourage students to take it a step further so that they themselves have a greater sense of achievement and a greater sense of learning.
Right, and presumably there'd be an element of personalisation in there as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, personalisation definitely, but the biggest thing for me is that although this is an idea, that is basically as much as they have developed.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to look at.
Yeah, I was going to say, you took it another step further, didn't you? And said, okay, I'm going to try some ideas out in the classroom.
Yeah, because from their blog and from speaking to them, because I did contact both of them and said that I was looking into it, and I felt that there was a lack of actual practical things that teachers can take to the classroom. So what I decided to do was take traditional classroom activities or games that you might be aware of, and try to add an element of demand high to them.
Right. So just to be clear then, for people who are thinking of coming to your talk, there will be practical ideas. It's not just about, here's a meme, as I think Adrian Underhill likes to call it. It's not just an idea. You've actually tried out some activities in the classroom. What kind of age group did you try it out with?
I've tried it out with young age groups between the ages of 10 and 11, and I also tried it out with older teens, my FCE class, who are 15, 16 age group. So really it's adaptable to any age group.
Right.
I would say you could also adapt it to primary,
right.
because at the end of the day it's about having a meaningful challenge for the learners and not just about making things really difficult.
Right.
So it could be adapted to any age group.
And so anybody who comes to your session is going to hear about the ideas that you tried out, and they'll be able to take some practical ideas away. Yeah, could you give us an example maybe?
For example, if we think of a traditional Kim's game, where you show maybe to recycle vocabulary or whatever, so the traditional game would be to have a minute to look at the objects on the tray. Then it's covered up and you have to try and remember as many as possible.
Right.
So recycling vocab. But the way I changed it slightly was to add things to the tray or take things away from the tray. So after the initial round of can you remember what was on the tray, they then had to tell me how the tray had changed.
Right.
So you've added an extra pencil. Or you've torn the piece of paper in half.
Right.
So it's adding grammatical structures, and depending on, you can build in differentiation by outcome if you like, and by getting an answer from a weaker student, you could then ask a stronger student to try and upgrade what they've already said.
Oh, right. Sounds interesting.
So I've done various things. I mean, that was with my younger class. And I've done a lot of sentence transformation work for my FCE class,
right.
And they find it really quite useful and quite enriching when it comes to vocabulary.
Good. I hope they got good marks then.
Yes, so did I.
Yeah. We'll find out soon. Okay, so thank you very much for talking to us. Just to let you know that we will be streaming Ross's talk as well and recording it, so that if you for some reason can't make our conference on the 27th of September, that's a Saturday, in the British Council School in Somos Aguas, you will hopefully be able to see a recording of his talk and hear some of his ideas after the event. But in the meantime, thank you very much, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you, and see you in September.
Yep. Goodbye.